Hey guys, today I'm going to tell you about the importance of being curious, incredibly curious as a child throughout your entire life, and what that can do for you. But I'm going to start with a really sad story. It's the story of the Native American Indians and their genocide in American history. And in particular, a man named Ishi, who was the last surviving member of the Yahi Indian tribe in Northern California. He had his whole tribe, family, wife, children, all killed in front of his eyes, basically, over a period of years. And being the last surviving member of his tribe, probably out of desperation, he showed up one day naked in 1911 in Oroville, California, and not able to speak anything that anyone there could understand, not wearing clothes. Of course, they did what they did in the West at that time. They put the crazy guy in jail. And luckily, there was a lot of press around the incident, and a famous anthropologist named Alfred Kroeber, who had spent his entire career studying Native American Indians and their culture, their history. He went and fished Ishi out of jail and brought him back to San Francisco, where Alfred lived. And Ishi spent the rest of his life actually under the caretaking of Alfred Kroeber, and apparently really enjoyed the rest of his life in Western civilization. And the amazing part of the story was that he was so curious about everything that was going on around him. In fact, there's a story about a dinner party where he was taken right after getting to San Francisco, and he watched all the diners pick up their knives and forks and start eating this strange food. And after about 20 minutes of observing him, he picked up his knife and fork and started eating as well and finished his meal. That's how he lived his life. He didn't hold any anger, didn't harbor any resentment towards the race of people that had taken everything away from him, and he went on with his life in a very open manner. Eventually, Alfred and Ishi learned to speak to each other. The dictionary was made of English to the Yahi language, and they were able to communicate, and Alfred started taking down the man's history. But the most impressive story, Alfred later said, was the story that Ishi told him about the first day when they met in Oroville, when they were waiting at the train station. And Alfred said, "You know, Ishi, I saw you were very afraid when the train came into the station. You ran and hid behind a great big pillar, and it took us several minutes to even get you to move." And he said, "What was that all about? Why were you afraid of the train?" And Ishi said, "You know, Alfred, my entire life, those big black contraptions billowing black smoke into the sky and making those horrible noises, those things you called trains were evil creatures that ate people as far as we were concerned, and we were all afraid of them our entire lives." And so Alfred said, "Okay, well, I get that. So then why did you eventually get on the train if you're so afraid of it?" Ishi said, very simply, "My life has taught me to be more curious than afraid." I think we can all apply this to our lives. If you just replace the fear of the unknown, how you're going to be perceived, what's going to happen in the call, that fear of the unknown, if you replace that with curiosity, you will find you'll be much more successful. You'll enjoy what you do a hell of a lot more, and things will just work out. So I encourage you to embrace this philosophy in your lives, both work and at home. Thank you very much.